Welcome back, welcome back. This week, the communist icon, Fidel Castro, announced he was resigning as Cuba's president and commander-in-chief after half a century in charge. Raul Castro, Fidel's younger brother, who's been acting as president since his illness, Fidel's illness in 2006, is likely to take the helm. While for some the resignation may be the prelude to a democratic transition in the country, the question remains, what will happen to Cuba after Fidel is gone? Joining me today from Washington, D.C. is the senior analyst at the National Security Archive, Peter Kornbluh, who I think has probably been growing his beard as a tribute to Fidel. Is that right?
I'm a barbudo, just like Fidel Castro.
Very good. Well, first question, I mean, it's the end of an era. What are your feelings about that era now? Was it fun to have him around, or is it better that he goes?
Well, Fidel Castro, David, has become a legend within his own lifetime. He's lived long enough to see the revolution that he led almost 50 years ago institutionalized so that it can go on without him. He's been in power long enough to see other major countries in Latin America, such as Venezuela and Argentina and Brazil, gravitate towards his own worldview and his own perspective on the United States of America. He's outlasted 10 presidents of the United States himself, all of whom were dedicated to undermining, assassinating, or overthrowing him in some way. And he's basically transformed a small Caribbean nation, Cuba, into an actor on the world stage, such that you and many of your viewers around the world are interested in this momentous moment when he is withdrawing from political life in Cuba.
But you say he's transformed Cuba, but of course, economically, his regime is a disaster area, isn't it, really?
Well, Cuba definitely is, the daily lives of Cubans is very difficult. Although if you compare Cuba to other third world countries, the healthcare system, the education system, and the general welfare of the people is much greater. But this is going to be the main difference, I think, that you're going to start to see after Sunday, when presumably Fidel's younger brother, Raul, will be ratified as president, and the next generation, what Fidel calls the intermediate generation of Cuban leaders, will also start to rise to the top of the poles of power in Cuba. You're going to see a real focus on changing the economic situation in Cuba and addressing the shortages in housing, the problems with transportation, the issue of low wages, and the issue of jobs for Cubans. And that is what Raul Castro has been focusing on since he became interim president 19 months ago. And I think most analysts believe that that will accelerate after Sunday, when it's clear that the expectations are from the Cuban population are that there needs to be changes in the economic situation and daily lives in the country.
What do we think exactly, in terms of so many rumors in the papers, what is the illness that has caused him to step down? I mean, he's managed to step down of his own volition. Enoch Powell said all political lives end in failure. Well, he's got out while he's still at the top. But why has he done it? What is the illness that is forcing him out of office?
As you know so well, Sir David, most authoritarians of Fidel Castro's ilk leave power in a coffin or during a coup. And he is leaving on his own terms, on his own steam, still standing. He is overseeing basically a seamless transition to his brother and to a younger leadership of the Cuban Communist Party. Let me just say, it's too early to write his political obituary, because while he is receding from political life in Cuba, he's not completely withdrawing. He is still going to obviously be working behind the scenes. He's still going to be writing a column in the Cuban Communist Party newspaper. He's basically going from commander-in-chief to commentator-in-chief, but his opinion and his influence is obviously still in play in Cuban politics.
Thank you so much for being with us again, Peter. It was really a delight to hear you.
It's a great pleasure to be on your show, Sir David.
Over 30 years ago, Muhammad Yunus had a dream: to lend money to Bangladesh's poor and destitute. To begin with, no one would listen, but now his idea of microcredit has swept the world, empowering millions of families to break the poverty cycle. He's affectionately known as the banker to the poor and won a Nobel Peace Prize nearly 2 years ago. Muhammad has written a new book, here it is, called Creating a World Without Poverty, and he joins me now. Welcome. Let's try and just talk about book one for a minute and then what's different about book two. Because in Banker to the Poor, very good title, what was the essential message of that was microcredit, really,
That's right, yeah. The experience that we had in lending money to the poor women, how it all came about, how it grew, how it reached out to millions of poor women. That's what we described in
and
Banker
in
to
one
the Poor.
thing, the vast majority was women.
Women, yes, indeed.
97%.
97%. Right now we have 7.5 million borrowers in Grameen Bank in Bangladesh, 97% women.
And how long do they have to repay the loan?
It depends
Longer than normal?
No, it depends on what particular purpose you take the loan for. Borrower decides it. It could be 6 months, it could be 1 year. But the most popular period is 1 year. That's what usually they take the loan for.
And what percentage, 97% of women, but now what percentage of people default on their loans?
Very, very small.
Very few.
Repayment has been 98%, 99% all along our history. We have been doing this for 31 years now. This is one remarkable thing, that you lend money without collateral, without guarantee, without any lawyers in between, no legal papers, but still repayment is very high. Not only it happens so in Bangladesh, now that idea has spread all over the world, and the same experience, people pay back. People pay back near 100%, 98, 99%.
How is it that people with very little money have this incredibly honourable record of paying back when banks are terrified of the fact that their richer clients are not going to pay back? And why is it that the poor do what you would think the rich would do quicker?
One way to explain the money that they get is so important in their life. They don't want to miss this opportunity. So they want to continue paying back, so the door that opened for them remains open. It doesn't close down. If you don't pay back, it closes down. And the loans are given for income generating activity. So you are investing this money to generate income for yourself, to create self-employment for yourself. So money is coming to you. So, and you make it so simple to pay back. So every week they're paying tiny amount. And if you continue to do it over a whole year, entire loan is paid back. So they find it very easy because they don't have to waste their time. They don't have to go someplace to do that. While they're working, they can come and pay the money when the bank personnel is arriving their place every week.
Well, now you've had a tremendous impact on poverty of the people who you've been lending money to and so on. Do you think it's possible to say that there will come a day, perhaps within 50 years or whatever, when poverty will be abolished?
I firmly believe that.
You do?
Absolutely. I'm confident that it will happen. I'll give you evidence why I believe that. In the Millennium Summit of all the nations in the world, United Nations, adopted some goals called Millennium Development Goals. And the goal number one is, within 15 years, the whole world would be reducing poverty by half by 2015. And many of the nations are striving towards it. Yes, on target. Bangladesh is on target. Bangladesh is almost very comfortably reaching that goal of reducing poverty by half by 2015. So my question is, if we can reduce something by half by a certain year, we can reduce it by zero by same number of years. So if you believe in that, we can work for it and make it happen.
You're an inspiration. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.